Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Ouroboros podcast. We're on episode 18, which is baffling. I like when I was recording the last episode, I typed in like episode 17, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that doesn't seem right. Um, we're approaching the end of season 1. Wah! Um, I think I mentioned it before, but I will be taking a break between season 1 and season 2 because I got some things planned and I want to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row before we launch into season 2. So, yeah, really what's the word? Savor the episodes, I guess. um but yeah, I'm excited. New things on the horizon. Um but yeah. As per usual, I'm gonna start with some updates. Um, so this comes out right before um the witches workshop. Um, so if you haven't already registered for that, please do. You'll get a lot of insight on how to read the cards, how to put together a little spell bottle, and you'll walk away with some goodies. But yeah, I have been thinking a lot about sort of what to say and how to teach following your intuition when it comes to reading the cards. And yeah, that like I I love a good metaphor. So I expect a lot of those if you're registered or if you plan to register for our little workshop evening. It's going to be super, super fun. Um, and it's on a full moon, I believe, or close to. Maybe? Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped. So definitely check that out if you're interested in learning more about I guess personally how I read the cards, but the style may work for you. I think it's pretty solid and you'll get a better idea of how to read your intuition. And yeah, I'm just really excited. Additionally, next weekend, uh, June 3rd, is the Ottawa Mystic Market, the summer edition. So, getting ready for the warmer weather. I'll be out in Westboro, Hintonburg area. I think it's more Westboro. Um, and I'm going to be reading the cards. I might also have some of my handmade stuff out there as well. We'll see. I may hire my brother to help again. He was immensely useful, very helpful last time. So, but yeah, if you're in the area, feel free to drop by, get a little reading from me. It's always fun. I really enjoy it. So, ah, can't believe this is like my job. This is so fun. But yeah, it's always a pleasure to meet new people. I also love, love, love seeing returning uh clients, people coming back for readings, and I'm like, I've remembered a few faces, a few names, a few readings, and I'm just like always I love hearing about people who like get readings from me or they start with like a different reader and then they come to me and the readings kind of align. It's like nice. We're on the same wavelength. Um and yeah, just feels great. So definitely check those out. Um anyways, without further ado, let's get into today's card. So today we are going to be talking about the strength card. So, as per usual, if you're watching on YouTube, I will be putting it up on the screen so you can see the card that I've created. Um, and this was a really fun card to make actually because the gold piece I had saved. Normally I use just clippings from magazines and stuff that I spend hours going through. When I tell you just the major arcana alone took me like a year and a half to complete. Um, not an over exaggeration. Um, do I still plan on making the rest of the deck? Yes, eventually. Don't rush me. It takes time. But yeah, it is a goal of mine. So anyways, um the gold here I actually saved from um a wrapper. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this reminds me of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory." And I saved it and I was like, "That'll be nice for crafts," because I know like the gold flake stuff. I forget what it's called. But there's like an actual gold thing that you can put on artwork and then you like dust it off and it leaves like the gold sparkle. Um, and I was just terrified to use that. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna be resourceful. We're gonna use our magician energy and be resourceful with this one. So that's what I did. Um, and I really like the this card because the image of the person actually, because it's sort of like it's a bunch of these aspects of strength, I suppose. We've got mountains in the back. There's a lot of like deep blues, which I actually incorporated because it's like there's a little bit of intuitiveness, spirituality linked with the color blue, calmness, and sort of this idea of compassion as well. And then gold, because it's a very regal color. And I always think of Leos, which this card is associated to. Um, and yeah, but the main character, I guess, of the piece, the person in the middle flexing, and I included like this halo behind them. I managed to find because the original magazine I didn't see um, who had created the image or who like took the picture. But when I was in a bookstore, I found that image. So I can actually give credit to Scott Fisher, who is the photographer, I guess, or maybe the designer. I'm not really sure if it's like a designed piece or a photographed image, but Scott Fisher, thank you so much because this was the perfect um, representation of strength to me, at least. Just somebody flexing, got the biceps going. So I thank you. Thank you for your art because it has helped to contribute to mine. Um, and yeah, so this card, like I said, is linked to the sign Leo. So if you're a Leo, you might be drawn to it. If it appears in your deck and you're a Leo, it may just be like, hey, what's up? But there's a lot more details that go along with the strength card, and it's kind of gone through its own evolution as well because this card was actually originally called Fortitude or Force. And it sort of comes with the idea of like back closer to when the cards were developed. Um, brute strength, like physical force, was a resource, it was something to be used. And yeah. Over time, however, The meaning of this card has kind of shifted to include resilience and willpower, sort of a fortitude of mind, and it's yeah, it's kind of gone from like brute strength to an internal and external strength. And to even further that, the more popular Rider Waite Smith tarot deck that we often see represented like pretty generically when we look up tarot, it has this image of a woman gently closing the jaw of a lion, and the lion, of course, linked to Leo. But this is sort of this idea that you can do these things with compassion. You can show strength through compassion as well, which is also why I wanted sort of the soft blues included in this card. So, if you know anything about Leo, there's a lot of pride and confidence, and um, there is a lot of power with the sort of general, I guess, stereotype of the Leo sign. And those characteristics are linked to the strength card, but we also see, like I said before, this resilience. So if you're going through a hard time with like external things, or stuff going on in your inner world, the strength card can be sort of like a supportive, um, a supportive little reflection of yourself from your tarot, because it's basically a reassurance, like you have the strength, you have the ability to overcome those obstacles that you may face, whether they're coming from external sources, just like roadblocks and challenges and stuff like that, or if it's just stuff that you want to work through in your own mind. This may be in relation to like mental health as well, sort of a like you shouldn't have to play the like play into resiliency and stuff. And I understand sort of the complexity of that, because nobody wants to have to prove their mental resiliency against some internal or external force. But it is a strength that you can have. It is a resource that you have, and sometimes we do have to lean on it. And you know, somebody play Kelly Clarkson's "What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger." Is that by Kelly Clarkson? Now that I say it, I'm like, hold on. I'm very bad with music and um, like names of songs and who sings them and stuff. Terrible. Super bad. Doesn't matter if I've listened to a song several times. I likely will continue to mix it up. Sorry. I like music. Don't know much about it. Leave me to the tarot. Um, but yeah, interestingly, it was our good old pal Eliphas Levi who made the link between Leo and the Strength card. Um, he also did a lot of work to connect a bunch of the cards to Hebrew letters. Um, and unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of information or knowledge on the Hebrew alphabet and sort of the meanings and how the associations were made. Um, Maybe someday I will find the literature on it and be able to inform you guys from what I've learned, but yeah, at this point, it's just not something that I can speak on effectively. So I'm not gonna try. I'm not about to dive in there pretending I know all that. So we're sticking to the stuff that I do know. But yeah, Eliphas Levi, he made the efforts to make those connections and sort of like build even more strength behind the cards. We've talked about him before, our good old buddy old pal. Um, so he had a huge influence on the tarot and sort of how the imagery is interpreted and the connections and stuff. So, but um, yeah, strength is associated to the fire sign, but like I said, in recent years, there is sort of a touch on more the emotional side, the compassionate side. There's like a gentleness to it. Strength doesn't necessarily have to be brute force all the time. It doesn't have to be like stone faced, stoic kind of vibes. Strength can look like handling something emotionally, but getting through it, you know? Like it isn't a weakness to feel sadness or grief or whatever. Um, it's just about like moving through those emotions with a sense of, I'll get out on the other side. And that's where the fortitude really comes in. It's like, are you stable enough to get through that? So if this card does appear in your reading, it's a reminder from your higher self, from the universe, creator, God, whoever you're asking through the cards. It's a reminder that you're going to make it through. Um, and there's likely a fair amount of resources that you have within you that you can call upon. Um, as I say, in every episode, consider the cards around the strength card as it comes out in your reading. Because let's say the strength card comes out with the magician. This is really going to emphasize, like, hey, you have the resource of strength that you might not be using. Um, if strength comes out with the hanged man, for example, this might be encouragement to like be strong in your willpower to wait for something better. Um, yeah, like the strength card can double up with pretty much any of the major arcana to indicate what area of your life you might have strength in, um, or what area of life you may need a push for strength. Um, yeah, so it's a very applicable card. Um, but like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be that like hard, forceful kind of energy. Um, strength doesn't have one look to it anymore. And I love the depiction of the character that Scott Fisher has included in his artworks. Um, and I got to include in this because I like when we think of the classic idea of strength, there's probably an immediate association to like men with huge muscles, like that old style like gains, you know? And interestingly, more often than not, the depiction is of a woman taming a lion. Um, and I say taming, like it's not a sense of control. It's a sense of a working with two enforce a gentleness, to bring things to a place of calm, and that is the power of the Strength card. It isn't about overtaking something. It isn't about ruling something. It's about finding the thing that holds you, the thing that keeps you going, and just like riding that wave. Um, so yeah, I really love the aspects of the card. Um, and I think when it comes out in a reading, it is like very, very beautiful. Upright, this may indicate something that is like a more external thing that you may need to show strength for. When it's in reverse, this can be like an inner strength thing. It's like to quite literally like turning inward, and providing a sense of strength and fortitude within yourself. So that can give you a little more of an idea of like where to put that time and energy, um, in order to offer yourself the best of what you can at that time. So that is where I'm gonna round out this episode for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on the flippity flip. Bye.